Hi, my name is Francisco Diez. I'm the director of the Center for Food Safety and also a professor in the Department of Food Science and Technology. I have been in this position for the last 7 years and a half.
What is your academic background?
Food safety microbiologist, as a scientist, but I have had my entire degrees have been in food science. I originally got a degree in food science and technology from the Instituto Tecnológico de Estudios Superiores de Monterrey in Mexico. That was many, many years ago. And then in 1990, I went to pursue my master's degree at Cornell University. And after finishing my master's degree, I continue on for a PhD at Cornell too. And after that, I stayed at Cornell for another 3 years as postdoc, working in the Department of Microbiology. And after that experience, I got a faculty position at the University of Minnesota in the Department of Food Science and Nutrition. And I was faculty there for 15 years. And then 2 more years, I was there as department head of the science and nutrition. In my role over there, I taught quite a number of courses in food safety and food microbiology. And I've been conducting research in food safety microbiology, mostly from the applied science point of view for pretty much my entire career since I was at Cornell University.
So what is the Center for Food Safety and what is your role in it?
The Center for Food Safety is an academic unit that is being dedicated to addressing problems associated with foodborne pathogens. In Center was founded 30 years ago by Dr. Mike Doyle, who was my predecessor in the center, and who retired from the center a year after I arrived as director. And the center has been one of the most prestigious units of its kind. It's, as I said, it's entirely dedicated to research. Only one faculty currently teaches regularly. The rest of us is mostly research. In my case, I do have an administrative and research appointment. And we have a number of faculty here in Griffin. We're located in Griffin. And the reason why we're located in Griffin is because we have our one of the most important resources. Our biosafety level 2 laboratory was built here. And this is what provides the research setting for the different investigators here. Now, the center is not just the faculty that are here in Griffin, but also it's a network of courtesy faculty that belong to multiple departments, including other colleagues in the department in Athens. We have 4 affiliated faculty in the Department of Food Science and Technology, and then we have multiple other faculty, not only in the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences, but also in other colleges that they are affiliated with us. So that's what makes the center strengths even more notable. In addition to this research focus that we have a track record during our 30 years that we celebrated this year, actually, of working with food companies. Since the center was founded, we have had quite a bit of endorsement from some of the largest food companies in the country and maybe in the world. And they've been very loyal in supporting our research programs. And that's been one of the unique strengths that our center has until today. The other role that the center plays is connecting the food is with federal agencies in particular, because we're located close to Atlanta with the Centers for Disease Control. The CDC is our most important federal government partner, and we provide the forums for company representatives to have an open discussion about the issues, the outbreaks, the recalls happening, and how to work together with the CDC to address those issues. The center also is involved in education. I said that we don't teach, but we have regular students that work in our laboratories. Those are food science students that they come through the department, and they are mostly all of them conducting research in microbiology. From all of the let's say one of the uniqueness about the Griffin campus in our department is because we are predominantly a group of microbiologists that are working on different foodborne pathogens.
What have been some of your favorite research projects that the center has done?
The center, again, we have a 30-year history, and one of the reasons why when I agreed to take this position is because of the long track record of delivering valuable information, valuable science for years. So I can give you a long list of accomplishments of our center. But before my time, I want to recognize the fact that the center has been around. It was around 24 years, almost before I arrived. So some of the projects that were very instrumental in making our center what it is today is because earlier researchers such as Mike Doyle and Dr. Larry Bouchard, who's been one of the most they both have been some of the most accomplished some of the most accomplished food microbiologists of our generation. They worked in multiple projects that at a time they were really pressing and it was critical to address, and they definitely delivered some valuable information. So, for example, some of the projects that they work on is they work very early on E. coli 0157H7, which is a major foodborne pathogen that companies are very concerned about, and unfortunately they continue to cause problems. So they develop a number of strategies to solve those organisms. For example, Dr. Dell developed a competitive exclusion set of cultures to reduce their presence in poultry and E. coli 157 in cattle. Then they first were one of the pioneers developing some of the early assays to detect Listeria monocytogenes, Campylobacter jejuni, that were also pathogens of very much importance. Another faculty that retired from here, Dr. Marlene Erickson, she worked very actively in elucidating some of the mechanisms, how pathogens were able to internalize inside of leafy greens, or whether assessing the risk of internalization. In general, a number of faculty work to address the understanding of E. coli 157 ecology in animals and in the crop fields. And there has been a number of researchers, including myself, working on developing thermal inactivation models in dry foods of salmonella and other foodborne pathogens, because we've had cases of outbreaks caused by a number of different dry foods like nuts, seeds, flour. In my laboratory, after I arrived, we developed a number of models to work on wheat flour and determine survival of enterohemorrhagic E. coli and salmonella on wheat flour. So the list is endless. More recently, too, some other faculty that are currently working in our course. I'm looking to some other projects that involve, for example, creating bioinformatics tools that may be useful to track and characterize pathogens. Dr. Shang Yudeng is known to have developed one of the first tools that that serotype salmonella using a whole genome sequencing, and that tool is available for thousands of people online, and they can just access this tool. He developed that, and currently, for example, Dr. Maybe I'm and Dr. Matt Kazim has found some interesting trends in finding antimicrobial resistant genes of much of a concern in some potential not pathogens, but potential organisms that could transmit the genes to other pathogenic organisms. So the list is endless. In some ways, I can go on, but I think the message that I would like to convey in this chat is basically that our center has have a long track record of contributing to address the most pressing issues that we face in food safety.
That's amazing. What are some other current projects that are going on?
One of those is, for example, Dr. Chan Yudeng again. He is looking into the interaction of E. coli 157 with leafy greens leaves. As you probably heard, is romaine lettuce has been one of the concerns for the several outbreaks that we have had in the last 5 years. So he recently got a grant from USDA to study how the organism interacts with those leaves. In the case of Dr. Malakis Ailey, who is one of our virologists here, she has been actively looking into survival of the virus, the coronavirus, the pandemic virus, the survival of SARS-CoV-2 on different surfaces, because there's been the concern whether the virus could survive on let's say, food packaging surfaces. And she has recently published work along those lines. She also has looked at ways that we can sanitize surfaces to kill this virus. Dr. Inés Ortega, for example, she's one of the internationally known experts in parasites, food parasites. And right now, the most concerning parasite is Cyclospora. Cyclospora has been very much in the news, and currently this year is not different from the last 3 or 4 years, is that we had a number of people getting sick from this parasite. And the typical vehicle for this organism are leafy greens or herbs like cilantro, parsley, basil. So that's been causing a lot of problems. And she is looking into issues. She's been looking into ways to reduce the incidence of this organism in those commodities. In my case, a couple of years ago, we were fortunate that we got a grant from the USDA again to work on blue light as a novel intervention method to treat surfaces and kill pathogens. We've had initially first funding from the Center for Produce Safety, and more recently the USDA. So we have a number of researchers looking into the effect of this technology to try to kill not only bacteria but also viruses on surfaces that could be in contact with foods. So that's in a nutshell some of the highlights of the current projects happening here at the CFS.
How does the center work in juncture with our department to accomplish its goals?
We're part of the department. Yes, that's one thing that sometimes it's been a little confusing sometimes because we don't teach. So we're not the typical faculty. All of the Center for Food Safety faculty, we're all professors, but we don't teach. I guess it's funny when you go and talk to people and you say, I'm a professor, and the first question they ask you, what do you teach? Well, we don't teach, or I don't teach right now, but I still hold the title of professor. So we have a really important, we complement in many ways our department on the mission that the center has. The mission, as I mentioned, we are dedicated to research mostly, and at the same time, our focus, our scope is on foodborne pathogenic organisms that can make people sick. So that's been the scope. But the department also has other food safety microbiologists, as already mentioned. So we complement in many ways the efforts of the department. We play a role that is very unique, that doesn't exist in many other departments or other centers, which is basically focused entirely on a mission of research. But on the other hand, it's our close relationship with industry. We don't really have an extension role formally. None of us have extension appointments. As you know, we're a land grant university with the three parts of the mission: education, research, and extension. We don't formally do extension, but in reality, we're doing it because the fact we are relating very actively with the stakeholders, with the companies that are very actively involved in helping us decide the priorities of research, and also with the federal agencies, the CDC. So we, in many ways, we play a role that nobody else is playing within the department. So in some ways, we are a unit that help contribute to the mission of the department also. That's so in many ways, that's the way I view the center. We're complementary. We're part of the department.